This next story, though, in a pivot, is getting a lot of buzz online, not in a good way. People upset about this. It has to do with a nasty surprise coming from the airlines in this country, some of them anyway. They are going to be piling on more fees in time for the holiday season and as we roll into 2016 for checked bags, second checked bags, getting those roomier seats on airplanes as well. For more on this and some of the buzz and some of the backlash, marketing expert Brynn Winegard is standing by in downtown Toronto. First of all, what does this mean here, Brynn, bottom line for customers? Obviously more money, but I mean bigger picture here.
Yeah, Todd, such a good question. Really what we're looking at here is an unbundling effect where, airlines are going to be expecting to be able to make a bit more money from extra charges. So charges associated not with the fare price itself, but with other services or goods that you might receive during your transit or, with them. And so we're looking at, rising prices overall. So by the time you've actually done the air transit or the air travel, you're looking at having spent more money. And that's really in an effort, for airlines to pad their bottom lines, frankly.
WestJet, of course, at the center of this. They're the ones today announcing this is going to happen here. For airline companies themselves making record profits nowadays because of low oil prices, low jet fuel prices here, how do they sort of account for this?
Yeah, so one of the things that's always confused consumers about air travel in general is that what they do is they price according to what we call yield pricing. Yield pricing is part of yield management and revenue management, which allows airlines to, if demand is high, to price higher, and if supply is low, to price higher so that they make more money. And as you say quite rightly, right now we see a lower oil price, but in past years we've seen higher oil prices that have really required air travel and air carriers to, pad their margins some other way, to find other ways to make money, given how expensive it was for the fuel itself. So, this is something that we are certainly seeing more of. It's not unlike what we see as an example in telecommunications, so mobile devices and mobile service management on your cell phone as an example, unbundling and then pay per item service or pay per service. We're seeing a lot more of in different categories in an attempt for them to make more money, and you'll ultimately have to spend more.
Years past when oil was much higher, Brynn, the airlines were saying we have to charge these prices. We've got to charge for all these extras because we're getting hammered because of the price of jet fuel. Now the price of jet fuel is in the basement, basically, but instead of offloading some of that to passengers, the answer is, well, we need to unbundle. We've got to make money for our investors, and we've got to squirrel away money for a rainy day. Overall, I would use the term interesting when it comes to that strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you're looking at them really sandbagging for future terms, right? So they're taking advantage right now of lower oil prices, but you never know where those prices will go. And so they're taking kind of the good profitability, the good year ahead of them now. And there's certainly, the holiday season is the time to do that because there are so many travelers and so many people willing to pay a premium for convenience or flexibility. And so, we're looking at airlines really having to think about how it is that they don't just charge, but how they communicate about those charges and how they, buffer against future terms that might not be as profitable.
I was going to say, so what can people do? If you can't fly WestJet, you can't fly Air Canada, it's like, well, then
yeah.
Time to drive.
Yeah, time to drive. I mean, that's an option. You can do something else. You can take a different type of travel. The other thing, of course, is that we see as the economy dips, that typically demand for air travel dips as most luxury and other, nice to have items in your basket or in your annual shopping cart, if you will, dip. So we're looking at, the possibility of that for sure. What consumers should do is make sure that they include all the costs when they're comparing the prices, what it's going to take them to get from point A to point B inclusively. That's going to help them save $1. Make sure to read all the fine print, because right now, as they unbundle and as it goes toward a fee for service, there'll be things you think you're getting in that fare price that are no longer included. So make sure that you're reading that and that you're doing your best job at comparing. And then, as you say, maybe you drive, maybe you do something else.
Brynn Winegard coming to us from Toronto. Great to have you on, and we appreciate all the previews on Twitter and the buzz leading up to this interview. Great to have you on.
My pleasure. Yeah, thanks, Todd. Good to see you.
All right, Brynn Winegard.